because these days you've heard all about them probably. GLPs, easy to prescribe, easy to take, and a lot of people are using them to lose weight. But right now, our Nate Morabito, as well as our partner at WFMY, digging into parts of this troubling trend involving these weight loss injection. Guys, thanks for joining us here, Nate in studio, and of course Kevin joining us from FMY. So I'll start with you, Nate. What you and Kevin found these overdoses related to these weight loss drugs, they've skyrocketed. What is happening?
Right. I mean, so there's so many people that are using these injectable weight loss drugs. And by and large, I mean, the results are incredible. I posted some questions to the Facebook community not too long ago, and just comment after comment about the experience people have had, how much weight they've lost, more than 100 pounds, minimal side effects. I think that's the norm. But what we also found is when you are maybe not partnering with a doctor as closely as you should, or maybe you're not using a preloaded injector and you're taking a syringe and a vial and pulling out the dosage yourself, there is this risk of an overdose. And when we talk overdose, we're talking about emergency room sometimes, we're talking about hospital stays. I had one woman a short time ago tell me she had to go to the ER for it. And with all the good that's come with these drugs and the fact that doctors are backing them, there is also this growing risk. And really, over the last 6 years or so, a nearly 1,500% increase in calls to poison control centers for overdoses, for side effects, for severe complications. And so that alone, I don't think the public knows enough about.
No, not at all. This is the first I'm hearing of it. Kevin, you finding similar findings?
Absolutely. And we spoke, Nate was worked with us, and we were able to find a lady that lives here in North Carolina who basically experienced one of those situations. I mean, it was a pretty serious situation in regards to an overdose. Now, she had used a GLP-1 before and had some fairly positive results. Wasn't a lady that was considered overweight or anything like that. She basically used it for health purposes, and a lot of women are using those as they get a little bit older in life for the health benefits as it relates to that. And that's what she used it for. She used it for about a month, two, went off of it, and then thought that was kind of it. She went on a cruise, wasn't really concerned about it. And then a friend of hers, colleague, reached out to her and said, "Hey, I'm working with a different company. Would you want to try this one?" And she said, "Sure, let's give it a go." And that's where things went sideways. The bottom line is it was a completely different company, and they prescribed a medication, and she took it for a few times, and it simply didn't work. And then they upped the dosage, and that dosage ended up putting her in the emergency room for about 3 days. And she was violently vomiting for 24 hours straight, if not 36 hours straight, every 30 minutes, simply because of an overdose as it relates to these GLP-1 medications.
That is really scary. And I mean, so like I said earlier, it's easy to get because you can, I mean, what are the channels people are using besides their doctors?
You can, I mean, that's the thing. They're readily available. There are tons and tons and tons of online companies and doctors that will prescribe these. And in this situation with her, she had to do very little, like background information or anything like that. No pictures, no visuals, no nothing. Previously, she had to stand up in front of a camera. At least the doctor was able to kind of look at her and view her or what have you. In this situation, nothing like that. It was just a form that was filled out. She got the medication. It didn't work. They upped the dosage, and that caused problems.
So, I mean, for both of you, when you collab together on something like this, you're finding the same findings. What are these poison control folks or doctors telling you?
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at this woman's case, Leslie's case, who Kevin interviewed, I've talked with her a bit as well. She is featured in our investigation that airs tonight at 11. She had no interaction with like a live digital video consultation. She had no in-person communication with the doctor. And that's, you know, we talked to a bariatric surgeon here in Charlotte with Novant Health, Dr. David Vollinger, and he really can't overstate this enough. If you are going to go on this kind of medication, he believes that you should be meeting with the doctor face to face. He says that is the best situation because that doctor knows your history, has a vested interest in making sure that you are going to comprehensively address your weight loss if that's the reason you're going on these drugs. And when we talked to them, the question for me was, because I have friends that have used these. I had no clue how severe the complications can be. I mean, in incredibly rare cases, people can die. And so he addressed that. And I wonder if we can take a listen to that, Carlene, because to me this drives home.
Rare,
look,
right? And it is extremely rare, but not zero from the standpoint. Just we talk about dehydration. If somebody has a heart issue or a kidney issue, that magnifies the severity of that. Sure, they could die hypoglycemia. These medicines can drop your blood sugar. Let's say that it drops your blood sugar to an extent that you have an injury, a intracranial injury. Some severe things can happen. So, look, I don't want to scare people away from taking these medications. These medicines are excellent, but the point I want to make is educate yourself, about your own medical history and the side effects of these drugs, and do it under supervision of somebody that knows what they're doing, and not just over the phone with someone who doesn't have your vested interest and your medical chart in front of them. Chronic relapsing disease, you need a chronic relationship with your physician, right? That is key. This needs to be treated just like high blood pressure, diabetes, any other chronic disease. Obesity is the same way. These medicines can cause serious help, or they can cause serious harm if you're not working with a medical professional.
So I really, as part of this too, I wanted to know locally how often this is happening. I know Kevin was we're working towards the same way. And the truth is that North Carolina and South Carolina's poison control centers, we made requests to them. They did not comply with our request to provide data to really understand in our states how often this is happening. But we do know nationwide, big picture, this is an issue. Almost 23,000 calls to poison control centers since 2019. And, Leslie didn't call a poison control center. So how many others are out there like her too that just go straight to the hospital, straight to the ER?
Kevin, what do you want viewers to know about your investigation tonight?
I think the thing about this is really it could happen to anybody that does this. And there's a couple of different drugs as it relates to FDA approved. And there's some drugs that are injectables and they're preloaded. And I think those are the safest when combined with a doctor that you're dealing with face to face. What Leslie was doing was it was an online doctor situation. There was no face to face interaction. And she was dealing with a compounding pharmacy. And what I've learned in talking with doctors is when you're compounding drugs, it's just not as accurate. It's not that it's not safe, but it's just not as accurate. And a lot of these drugs are dealt with in milliliters, or milligrams, excuse me. So it would be like 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.5, etc. When it's preloaded, it is that exact amount. You know exactly what you're getting. When you're dealing with a compounding agency, from what I've been told, one batch that could be 2.1, the next month when you get that same batch at 2.1 milli, it may actually be 2.3 or 2.4 or 2.5. You just don't know because you're dealing with a compounding agency. So as we were learning more about this, it's best to go with the company that's FDA approved. It's also best to make sure you're dealing with somebody face to face in these situations.
And Nate, I mean, this is very, it's kind of disturbing because a lot of people use it just not to gain or not to lose so much weight. They're not obese, but they are, in that maintenance level or trying to stave off, just to slim down.
Right, and it's so common, and I think that Leslie's experience really drives home another message too. She thought something was off when the doctor doubled her dosage and told her to inject even more of that from her vial into her body. And she didn't take the full amount, but her gut told her, this doesn't seem right. And the next thing you know, she's asking a doctor, can you put me in a coma? I cannot live like this. This is too much for me. So we're talking really extreme. And by the way, not only like all the suffering she went through, a more than $10,000 hospital bill.
Oh, wow.
So this is like a little bit more than a nuisance here, right? Like if things go wrong, this is something that can affect your life. It can affect your pocketbook. And all we are trying to remind people of is that this is happening. There are actual cases about this happening. And really, if you can have a relationship with your doctor or a doctor that you trust and you work with regularly, that seems to be the best approach. Nothing's obviously going to be bulletproof in this kind of a situation, but you just don't want to be in a situation where those side effects like nausea, vomiting, stomach pains can get to a level that are kind of unbearable.
Yeah. I mean, no weight loss is worth going through the emergency room or, pain like that. Okay, gentlemen, your investigation looks like it's going to be a good one and something that we need to tune into tonight at 11.
Tonight at 11, I know on WFMY, on us at 11, and just so appreciate Kevin working with me on this. We actually started working on this because our colleague in Seattle, station in Seattle at King TV, was looking into this as well. And so it's just a great collaborative effort to really amplify something that people just don't know enough about, I think.
I mean, and yeah, it is something that a lot of people are talking about too, across the board. All right, looking forward to that on WFMY as well as WCNC Charlotte tonight at 11. Thanks, guys.